And we are live today up on another Thursday, Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all. It's amazing that you guys can be here. We have Sarah with us and Juan. And yeah, this is what is it, number 45 of our well, it started out as a health Q&A, but actually we got less questions and we just started chatting about anything and everything that comes up and learning from each other, which is important. I came back last night from a week-long trip into the mountains. And while I was on a water fast, and I managed, I thought it was 25 days, but to be honest, it was 23 days. It was rather easy for me, even while being on vacation. Well, it was actually easier because I didn't have to think, oh, nice restaurant, they may have some great food. And no, I was just drinking water. And that meant that my husband was stuck with whatever fruit we had in the cooler. But we had the fruit and the smoothies and yeah, whatever was necessary. But in the last 2 days, I was like, we were so cold. And it was only being in the car that we were warm, and I was still wearing gloves and a shawl and a hat in 4 layers. And not getting warm. We just wanted to be somewhere warm and nice inside. So yeah, I've been eating now for 2 days and had to come to the conclusion that I feel much better when I do not eat, and even energy wise, and yeah, my body feels better. Now, there is something that was rather interesting for when you go into the cold. The day that we left was last week, Thursday. It was, I think low 80s, high 70s, low 80s here in Florida, in Central Florida, where I am. We traveled up north, and our first stop was in Perry, Georgia, and it was cold. It was already very cold. And my knees got so bad that I could barely walk. And that lasted throughout the whole time of the cold. So we even said, like, oh my God, it's so beautiful there, Great Smoky Mountains. We were up in Maggie Valley, and it's like, oh my gosh, we want to live here. The mountains, the clean air, the rivers, the creeks, the trees, although they're the trees. It was just, we felt great. It was only that cold, but still we were like, we want to live here. But when I saw what the cold was actually doing to my body, and Dr. Morse tells us that cold is actually alkaline, so you start detoxing. But I think with still having the arthritis in my joints, cold was not really a good thing. And I got back last night, and today's my knees are already doing better. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy how it works?
Yeah, that is crazy. We also were gone, and we got back last night as well, and just playing catch up with everything too. And yeah, so I mean, we went south though. So for us to come back, so we were down in Florida, and then we made our way over Alabama, and then came up through Tennessee, coming back home through like Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, just passing through those areas.
Hey, we were there too.
Oh my gosh.
we overnight in Pigeon Forge.
Oh my gosh. Well, it was just a couple days ago. So
yeah, for me too.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny. We didn't stay in Pigeon Forge though. The places that we were looking at were like, it was way too expensive, but I think it was for the holiday, basically. So we just kind of passed through, visit a couple stores. My son really likes the Christmas store there. And then we left and just kind of just moseyed north slowly. So yeah, it was freezing. We left right before we had a big snowstorm here. And I think we got 4 inches where I live. And then we were gone. So like it was raining our whole way, but we were in, 70s, 80s. and it was beautiful. We were in shorts and everyone else was freezing back home, but man, 50 degrees after being 70 and 80 it's freezing. But
Yeah, we experienced temperatures from they were like 25 degrees,
mm-hmm.
low 20s and 25, and it was very, very
Yes.
cold.
But
And
all the
then I
places,
see people walking around because we were actually in Dollywood, of all places.
oh,
I just had to see that, and it was
yeah.
so crowded. And you see
Oh,
kids, adults, and they are in short sleeves.
yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, what's wrong with me that it's like I'm so cold.
Yeah. I mean, you're used to the tropical weather more, where it's nothing to see someone, like most of the kids wear shorts year round here, even if it's snowing and everything. It's the weirdest thing, but they do. And to tell you the truth, I very rarely ever wear, I always have a t-shirt. I don't wear long sleeves or sweaters, and then I just have I have like a fleece jacket and that's it. So I don't bundle up very well either, but I'm layered right now because I'm freezing from being in the warm areas.
Yeah,
But
it's
today's very
interesting.
nice. I hear
Yeah,
the whole United States is very nice today. So
good.
that's
Well,
something to
that's
be
good.
thankful for.
It's definitely sunny here, and so that's good. And
Yep.
yeah, but it is definitely a trip that I do want to repeat and then do it. They told me come back in the spring. It's
Oh
beautiful.
yeah. Georgia is very beautiful, especially where you're up, North Carolina, Maggie Valley. I've been there as well. And the place in Georgia, it's slipping my mind, but looks like the German village.
Oh, Helen.
Helen. Oh yeah, Helen's really beautiful. We were there in the spring, many,
Yeah,
many,
we were
many years
there
ago.
on going there, we were there, and going back, we visited too. And I was like, oh, this is where I went wrong with my fasting. I was like, I want to
Mhm.
have a German Apfelkuchen. They didn't have it.
Aw. There's another place that's much farther north for you, but it's in Michigan. It's called Frankenmuth. And that is a German village as well, too. And to tell you the truth, northern Michigan it's beautiful. It is. We are going to definitely take a trip there this summer and really explore it and kind of just go up more in the upper peninsula and stuff like that.
I
But
traveled all over the United States, but that is an area I have not been. But coming from the Netherlands, I didn't care about the Dutch or German
right,
places. But now being gone for more than 20 years, it's like, hey, this is neat.
it's neat to see.
It's yeah, it's not really not really German, but you recognize the kind
Yeah.
of Austrian, German aspect. And but no, they didn't have the original Apfelkuchen.
That's funny. And speaking about eating on the road, I mean, I was not fasting, but it's definitely just easy. I did a lot of grapes and just, went in and stocked my cooler up on grapes, and it was easy. It was really easy. And my husband was doing store-bought orange juice just because we couldn't, we weren't juicing on the road, but yeah, it was pretty bad. I tasted it a few times and I was like, no, I'm gonna stick to my grapes. So
Yeah, I found that the water is actually the easiest thing to do.
yeah, yeah, that's neat. Yeah. JV, how are you doing? And I mean, California's got to have beautiful weather all around, so I assume you're not freezing.
Hi. No, no, I'm not freezing. That's for sure. Actually, listening to your stories, all these great places that you went, more than likely the times that you've gone in the past, it's probably been nicer weather. I heard you had a little cold front coming in earlier. That's what Toni was telling me. It was like so cold. On Monday, actually, I went out to the coast with a friend. I gave her a ride on the back of my motorcycle, and it was actually kind of the opposite. It wasn't really, cold or anything in the city, but when we headed out to the coast, there wasn't a lick of wind, and it was like 70 degrees, and got to dip my feet into the water and stuff. It was really nice. It was a really nice motorcycle ride. But yeah, I just received this, Toni. Thank you. Yeah. Hey, this is like my new my health Bible.
Oh yeah, the book. Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
awesome. Right now,
Yeah,
I sent you something, Tony, on
I got
PayPal.
it.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
Yeah, thank you for your generous donation again.
Well, thank you. Yeah, you sent it out the same day I mentioned it. So it's really nice. Well done. Color pages, and it's really looking good. I really dig it. I just like been flipping through it, and I just turned to one page on the back of the book, and a friend of mine does this, that the biomagnetics, and I'm like, wow, you cover a lot of subjects. You got a whole gamut of things. I can't wait to dive in.
That sounds good. One of the Katie is the one who went through every sentence in that book and edited a lot. So she did an absolutely great job in helping me out. And yeah, I there are, of course, there are always topics that I was like, oh my God, I didn't cover that, or I didn't cover that. But it is actually about the basics. What do we need to be healthy? And then a topic comes up, and I think if you haven't experienced it, then you know somebody who has, and that is ear infections. And I had ear infections from 6 months old until 12 years old. And it is in the last few years that I realized, it's like, my God, when I was 6 months old, they started, with some other food other than breast milk. And I think my mother breastfeeded us until we were probably a year and a half old. But it already starts at 6 months, because that is the age. Oh, now you have to introduce like potatoes and veggies and meat and fish and milk, of course. So, and I don't know exactly if it could also have been triggered the first ear infection, and that was what they call a mid-ear infection, both sides at 6 months old, if that was after. And I think it was in that same time, the first vaccination in Holland. Now we're going back to the 50s, so it's been a while. But I had those ear infections twice a year, every year, until I was 12 years old. I already had a ruptured ear. I've had a ruptured eardrum, what they called like leaky ears and stinky stuff leaking out. But not, it was like, oh yeah, children have this. Now, my mother and father were both smokers, so that is a big part of it. But of course, it is also the food, and nobody wants to think about it. So in a group that where I'm an admin, of course, there is a question, a young child has an ear infection, what to do? And everybody has their own little thing that they do, from olive oil to garlic to onions to onion pack on the ear. And I was thinking back, my mother never did any of that, and I probably got a whole bunch of antibiotics. But I remember there have been times I didn't get anything, and of course it goes away. And that is the thing with always, like, okay, you got antibiotics and now it goes away. Well, maybe if you did not get the antibiotics, it would have gone away too, because the body will take care of it. That's just what the body does. But now there are all these other things too. And yeah, with a child, especially with very young children, although with everybody, because it hurts like hell. You want to, take action right away to lessen the pain. So it's all kinds of oils being put in. And of course, there is the colloidal silver. I think that was one of the, out of the way over 100 suggestions, that was the one that most popped up, colloidal silver. When I first heard about colloidal silver, it was in a relationship to viruses, that it would not work on bacteria, it would only work on viruses. Well, we now know what a virus is. At least I hope most people do know what a virus is. And no, it doesn't work for that. It doesn't work. Dr. Morse says, why would you want to use that? It's the body doesn't need it. The body knows what to do. And viruses are just parts of our own cells, that the body sends out to detox us. And they are dead and inert. They cannot do anything on their own, and they have never been proven to cause disease. Because that was another thing that a doctor had said, oh yeah, she probably has an ear infection because she has a virus too. And when I see all this information, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how can we ever really educate people and prevent this from happening? Because I don't know how it is with you guys, but I think so many of us have dealt with it, with those darn ear infections. I'm sure it has to do with the smoking, with the vaccinations, with the food, the dehydration, the stagnated lymph, kidneys not filtering. But people do not want to hear that it is related to what you eat, and not necessarily what you eat yesterday or the week before. It's in general. Our bodies are not healthy, period. Your children's body, they may look, energetic, and they seem all very healthy, but when a child gets an ear infection, that is a sign something is not working as it should. Otherwise, you wouldn't get it. So, yeah, what's your take on it, Sarah or Juan?
Oh, that's so interesting that you're telling the story, Toni. Oh, can you hear me? Okay. I didn't know if I muted myself. Yeah, I had ear infections too when I was a child. And my mother would do things like, olive oil and garlic and various things like that, because she was holistic. But then as I got older, I started getting into, candy and sneaking around, because I think I had told you in the past about, my mom wouldn't even let me go trick-or-treating and whatnot, but, I was rebellious, especially once you got that taste of the foods. But most definitely it is pertaining to the things that we're ingesting into our bodies, because, I can contest to the fact that, I wasn't eating right, and I was having that stinky stuff come out of my ears, like what you were describing. It was somewhat embarrassing, because, like I was on the wrestling team, and and you could just smell that drainage. It's like, and I didn't even know what was going on. And it's not until recently, now that I've really changed my health, that I had thought that I had permanent hearing loss in my right ear. But I have been having like somewhat of like a congestion, and then a draining, and then I'll clear my my nose, which blows out like my ears. And I'm starting to hear just as well out of my right ear as I am my left, which is just amazing to me, because that's a stereo. You get to hear in stereo. It's so much more clear when you hear left and right. And just really changing our health. You are so right. I mean, how could that not be, fun with detox, right? I mean, to have things coming back to you, your health, and how simple it is, like I'm actually invited to go to a Thanksgiving dinner, which I think I'll be the only one there, eating raw. But I did, like you say, Toni, I made just the biggest salad with avocado. Well, I did put avocados, but I just made a big giant salad, and I'm going to be eating from my own salad. And then I remember Sarah, you saying the term, thanks living. I've been saying that now ever since. I like that, thanks living. Like gobble gobble gobble. The turkeys are saying thank you. I'm alive. Thanks living.
Yep. Oh yeah. I remember one year before, like I was still vegan. I was basically vegan, but vegetarian. And we were still doing turkeys, and we decided that we were at least going to do a fresh turkey, one that we knew grew up on a farm. It wasn't like, in the factories and stuff like that. So in our mind, we were thinking, all right, it's going to be like we knew the person and everything. And we pull up and he said, "You're lucky you arrived when you did, because I just got changed." Apparently he just killed the turkey. And even then I was already like, I'm not eating meat or anything. So it was even hard for me to be the person that had to go and get it. And my husband was with me as well. And he's like, he was just eating popcorn yesterday and everything. And so, I mean, I'm already just feeling just guilt beyond belief. And so we leave and, they make the turkey and everything. And my husband goes to have a bite of it. And he looks at me and says, I can't eat this. And I said, really? And he goes, no, I can't. And it was like that was the first, just like real like turning point, I guess. And from there, it was kind of like there was just more thought behind it, and how far away we really are from what actually happens to those turkeys, and how smart they are, how intelligent they are, and how complex the families they have and how they protect each other. I mean, if you ever see wild turkeys in the wild, they take care of each other and stuff like that. There's even videos where they're crossing the road and the one turkey's holding up traffic so his family can get through. I mean, they're so smart. So for this holiday to exist, it's wonderful, because it is great to be with family and to be thankful and to be reminded to be thankful for what you have. But the fact that we go and we destroy other families, like murder of the turkeys and stuff, it's horrible. But
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, I'm very grateful for this day, though, to be with my family and that we can share, time together. But I just really hope a lot of people wake up and realize the cruelty of this. And, every holiday is based around a ham or a turkey or something anyway. But yeah.
Yeah. How was it that this time of the year, it seems like the turkeys are getting the short end of the stick?
Literally.
Yeah. Why is that? It doesn't seem like the rest of the year they're all popular. It's kind of like chicken, but or I saw a bumper sticker the other day. It says beef, what to eat, or something like that. It just made me sick, and there's a meat processing plant right over here by my house, and it's kind of, I can't even walk through the meat department anymore. It just seems like this bad karma to me. It's like this. It's probably in my mind. I'm imagining this, but I'm feeling like all the death. It's kind of like, because I know that it's wrong.
You're not. No, you're not imagining that. You're tuned in. You're feeling God's energy, and that it's wrong and it's kind. Every person is born with knowing what is right and what is wrong. And it's wrong, and we know it's wrong. It's just most people just keep believing the lie. So you're definitely not making it up. You feel it and you know it.
Yeah, you're right. I'm guessing it must have been back in a day that turkeys were maybe way more prevalent, maybe even more so than a chicken. I'm not really sure, but the whole tradition around the turkey, there doesn't seem to be any other time of the year where they're so popular.
Yeah, and who knows even if the whole pilgrim thing and everything is even true. I mean, they've lied to us about everything else. So, I'm sure it's not true either, but we'll see. I mean, like the same thing with Halloween, everybody, it's Satan's holiday, and a lot of things happen really bad on that day, but you got to bring the light even to the dark. And so while you're out trick-or-treating, maybe dress up like a unicorn, or maybe dress up like, an angel and stuff, and just, give good blessings to people or smile at people and just be part of that shining light in the community. The same thing at Thanksgiving, even if there is a turkey laying there on the table, be that bright light sitting there that you're just eating your raw salad or your whatever. I know we're going to have a big fruit platter this year. Someone's making a fruit salad. Is there going to be cooked food there? I'm sure there will be, but you know, it brings up conversation. It allows people to ask questions. And then when they see you and they see your light and they see your eyes and they see your energy, that sparks something in somebody, and it makes people think, even if you think it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I just recently learned too that, you know, when you're resonating on a higher frequency, you're resonating with the animals too, and the animals can detect this. And when we have reverence for all living things, you know, because a lot of times people are saying stuff like pertaining to the Native Americans and you know, ancient times, when they had to, they did you know, go on the hunt, and they utilized everything, and they had such reverence, you know, for that animal. You know, they had, you know, kind of like ceremonies and dances and tribal things going on, and they didn't eat that all the time. But like, I think there was probably instances where they had to, you know, just to be able to survive. But we have so many choices now here in our lives that we don't have to make that choice, you know. So
Exactly. And it's very hard for, like, we can't even compare ourselves to them because of what we've been told, what we've done to them. I don't trust anyone or anything, but what we've been told we've done to them, if those are true stories, that's completely horrible. But and I know that they're very strong at passing their generational stories on down to each other as well too. But you know, we don't know the whole picture. We don't know everything that was happened in the past. We don't even know if somehow, you know, the history has even altered their history. I mean, we really don't know. But what we have seen is what protein really does to the kidneys and what it does to the liver, and how it just ferments and sits in your gut for so long. It's just not good at all. Yep. And there's another thing, Toni, I have someone that's pretty close to me, and they're telling me and showing me their blood results and stuff like that. I already know they're not going to listen, and they already know where I stand with everything too. But, you know, loving them from afar and, you know, getting ready to watch this journey happen again with them is never easy. But I was discussing it with my mom, and she was like, well, let's really dig into these blood results. And I said, well, if they're not going to change, really, all you're really doing is prolonging the inevitable. And by taking the medicines and doing the surgeries and doing all this other stuff, you're just kind of hurting yourself even further along. Where, in my opinion, I think you should just let your body be how it's going to be, and you make your choice if you're going to continue on your path of the protein carnivore type diet, or do you want to move over to the fruit area. But if you're not, you know, willing to jump completely in, then there's really nothing that can be done. And I don't know why I've kind of had that mindset, and I don't even know if that's the correct mindset to have either. But I was basically just saying, like, I wouldn't even return back to the doctor or take the medicines. Just live your life how it's going to be and let your body handle it how it's going to handle it. But if you're willing to move over to the fruit side, you know, it's kind of the same way too. You just move over to the fruit and the herbs and let your body handle it the way it's going to handle it as well too.
Yeah.
Also, one more other thing in my mind is the more blood tests people take, it's almost like how your body has to get all that energy to work on digestion. Does your body also have to now use up all its resources to make more blood every single time you're doing a blood test?
Yeah, that's a good thought. The thing with blood tests is, if you would do one every day for a week, you would have 7 different readings. It's never the same. And what I have noticed with my clients who did a regular blood test and doctor visits, despite their 40 days on grapes, they were not healing as they could have. And there has to be a trust in your body, a trust in the truth that this is the right way to do it. And just eating the right food and not having the mindset that it is actually healing, and constantly worrying and having the fear it may not, you're not healing. And as weird as that may sound, I have seen it, and I've seen it with myself too. I've had my times that I was like, oh my God, what is going on now? And maybe I should get a test. And it's like, no, that's crazy. My body knows what to do, and I trust that I am on the right path. I trust that as long as I give it the right fuel, as in the right foods, or less fuel, then it is it's doing what it needs to do. It's like, the best example is with a car. You have a car that runs on gasoline, you put in diesel, you don't even get to the corner of your block. It's not working. And that is the same with your body. We can come up with all kinds of ideas as like why it should work, but I believe that mindset is the happiness. And if you go through all these tests, you're not trusting your body. Now you're trusting an outside source that looks at your blood. And I'm still puzzled, as in all the things that they give you, like, oh, you're allergic to that, and you're deficient in that. And it's like, how can you even tell? I haven't been in the sun for a week. I mean, it's just little things. And it's there are, and deficiency is not a disease. We just need to, and that is why, I'm coming up with that again, why I called that book, and actually my business, it's Fun with Detox. And, give it the right fuel, be happy, do the things that you need to do. And I would completely, but that's personal. I cannot tell anybody else what to do. I'm not going to get any blood test. And it's our blood making what you said, Sarah. If you give blood, then how does it add to it again? I'm sure the body can do that too. I mean, we can adjust to so many things. Look at how many years we're surviving. Well, barely surviving in many cases on junk food. I mean, my sister was buried last week. And her death was horrendous, and it didn't have to be that way. But a complete, total trust in the doctors and her path. And then later on, after she died 2 weeks ago, and her burial was a week ago. After her death, I hear there were so many mistakes made. And it was one test after another. And then they told it, oh, it gotten worse again. Do you want to be told that? And maybe if I would go to a doctor, they would come up with all kinds of things like, oh, you're not going to last long. And I don't want that in my mind. And that is the same with these darn blood tests. It's like, oh, this is low, and this is crucial, and this is on a dangerous level. And you need to do this. And now you need to supplement. And now you need to eat different. And you need to eat like meat because you are low on this vitamin or low on this. And it, like, why do we look at the body as if it doesn't know what to do? All our job is not to put any junk in and live a happy, life. And I know it's not always that easy, especially not with all these people around you that tell you like, oh, you're overweight, or you're too skinny, or and I sometimes I have a friend that tells me like, oh, you don't look so good today. It's like, well, gee, girl, thanks. But it is not easy. I do realize that. So it's like we have to be strong and trust in the plan. Trust in God. We have been created as amazing machines.
Mhm.
And that is even, I have that as a part in the book. It's the lymphatic system, the amazing machine. It's how everything works. And it's so much easier than we have been led to believe. Everything has been made so difficult, because if you look at a blood test and you get these 8, 9, 10 pages, and you look at all these things and all the names, it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, what are we going to do with it?
Yeah. And you have to be a specialist or a doctor to even know how to read them. I mean, I've, my experience in reading them, I do know sort of like what I'm looking at. I don't know exactly. But I said right here on these 2 lines, it says high acidity and high protein in the liver. Protein markers is what it was called. And I said, well, that's all I need from this whole entire blood test. I already know what it is. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. And again, I mean, like I'd said a couple weeks ago, God chose his strongest souls to be here now because we can share light, we can shine light, and we can give light. So that's why we're here, but it's not easy. And it is very hard, but that's why God sent his strongest beings during this time, because we can do this. And even though we've been, knocked down by the matrix, we live in the matrix and all this other stuff, we in amongst all the lies we've been told and all the brainwashing, we all found each other still. And it's because we are the strongest and we will make it. And we all, I listened to this other guy too, my mom sent me recently, and he said, one person here might have this company that, brings all these people together, and it might be this multi-million-dollar company, and he's the bringer of the light for that, or she. And then another person might work at, a bank, and they're just there to spread that light every day of every person they meet with just a simple smile. It doesn't matter how big your task is, we're all part of this all together, and everybody has a little working piece that has to fit together. So it's really neat when you step back and you can see the whole picture of how we all found each other, even in the dark. And a big thanks to that is Charlie and Colleen for shining their light so bright that we were all able to see it. And when we saw it and we heard them speak, we heard the truth, and we knew the truth within our souls. And then we were all able to find each other, our little niches that we all are. And the way that Toni brings light, the way I do, the way Juan does, the way Katie and Yvonne and Grant, I mean, we all have our way of doing that and linking to each other. So it's amazing, and our bodies are amazing. I mean, he wouldn't have sent us here with these bodies that can't survive without all these synthetic vitamins.
Yeah, that is so true, Sarah. They say it's our bodies that are healing and doing the miracles and the work. Like doctors and natural healers. They're more like a facilitator. It's us. We are the ones that are doing the healing. And, since like you were speaking to Charlie and Colleen, the truths that they brought, there was some pretty, evil one. They take the blood that you are, donating, and they're drinking it or whatever. Oh man. So I used to give blood. They give you this thought that, it's good to give blood because then your body gets to rebuild the blood up, and it's good for you. And then I had a bad experience. I was in there and I was just jolly myself, having a good time, and the girl was having a problem finding my vein. And this one lady was like a witch or something. She came over and she pulled out the needle out of my arm, and the blood was like shooting out. It was like, and then they said once the needle comes out that it's like you have to come back another time or whatever. And I never went back after that. And this was prior to Charlie and Colleen, hearing the story about that, what they're really doing with the blood. I was like, wow. Well, I think that might have been God. Like it's like, that's not a good place to be giving, and so I stopped giving
Intervention. Mm-hmm.
Well, there was another God invention then, because the one time that I wanted to give blood, and I'm talking about 20 years ago, here in the United States, and they heard that I was from the Netherlands, and for the rest of my life, I am not allowed to give blood. And you know why? Because at some point there was a mad cow disease in the Netherlands and the UK. So now you are affected by that for life. And I realize that was actually a good thing, but I didn't know that
Mhm.
then. And it's like mad cow disease. The only reason these cows got that was because they were eating from their own species. It was mixed up in the food.
Imagine that.
Yeah. So
I've never donated blood, ever. I've never received blood or donated blood. And I've actually even told my husband too that if anything comes about where I need blood, it's coming from you. That's it. So be ready to give me blood if I ever need blood, and I will give my blood to you, but that is it. We're not taking donor blood.
yeah.
No.
Yeah,
And
I've
same thing with
never
my
received
son.
it, and I have never given blood. It was just that one time that, it's not a big thing in Holland, but it is here. And where I live in this community, that bus comes like twice a year, and everybody
Mhm.
goes there, because that is what you do. You give blood to help others. And yeah, well, they don't want mine. Mine is not good enough.
It seems to me like whenever you're going into the hospital, I've been going in for they look into my eye, and but they keep looking on their computer going, well, you're at this age and you haven't taken your colonoscopy thing or something, like they give you this little packet, and I guess they want your fecal matter or something, and then that'll give them an indication of whether you have like colon cancer or something, and I have absolutely no intention on, giving
Well,
them.
the thing with colonoscopies is it's rather dangerous actually, and they make it like, oh, do you have to do this on a yearly basis when you are past 50? Because that is when they find polyps, and it's what Dr. Morse once explained. They only see the inside of your colon, but a polyp can grow further. But if you have a polyp and what they want to do is then remove it, and then they tell you, oh, you're precancerous, or if you have polyp, you have a problem and you need to change your diet and definitely stop smoking. Because what we also experience is that a lot of people with colon cancers are smokers. And they have a lot of problems. And we come again to, the food that we put in our body. It's not designed for that. I don't care what all these meat eaters say and how they hang on to their meat and justify it in every which way they can. It is not healthy to our body. And it's like what you said, Sarah. What it doesn't even ferment. It's just rotting away. And people smell, it is their feet, their underarm, their breath, everything smells out of their pores, and especially their sweat. It's amazing.
And to
And
put it bluntly, if you pass gas and it stinks, like that's number one sign.
yeah,
Like that's it. It should not stink. And I know I've said this before too, that these guys used to go to the gym and they would take all these protein shakes and everything. And then if one of them would go to the bathroom or pass gas, the other guys would be like, oh my God, that smells so raunchy and stuff like that. And I'm like, do you think that that's right? But like they would be like entertained by it. Maybe there's some girls that way too, but my experience was only with the men. But they'd be entertained by like whose crap literally smelled the worst. And it was like, but it was all the protein drinks and all the crap they're doing. And I'm just like floored by that. And when we were, actually, it was when we were in Gatlinburg, there was a group of boys, I wouldn't say boys, but 20s. And I guess one of them passed wind and the others were like, "You're nasty, man," and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, I turn around, look at the guy, and I'm like, well, I already know what's going on inside your colon. But it's just so weird. Isn't it weird how like the weird thoughts we now have?
Yeah, you are so correct, Sarah. For myself, I have been passing gas, but I don't even smell it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And when I go to the bathroom too, it don't smell like it used to when I ate meat, and my gas was it was rotten, man. And it's amazing, just to think that we used to feel, at least for myself, I used to think that was normal, I mean, but it's not. That's
No.
an indication right there, something's rotting inside of you.
Yep. And I know like we have a joke in our house too, where I'm like, well, my shit don't stink. But it's funny. We get a kick out of it too. And I mean, just even what my husband does, like, I mean, he still eats meat in the evening. And to tell you the truth, like I mean, it depends. Like if we have guests over, he obviously eats more meat because that's what they're expecting to eat. And again, like we don't cook in our house though either. So we'll go out to eat or we'll do something like that. So he'll definitely, intake more that way. But when it's just us, I mean, he'll eat, vegan foods, vegetarian foods, whole skip meals. I mean, it's totally different. And then he even notices things within himself too. So I mean, it's pretty amazing to like really kind of see. And again, it's a journey, and it's the way how you kind of look at it and what you observe. And I find it very interesting. Sue has a comment over here. It says, my cat eats meat and her poop stinks. Yeah, cats, Toni and I have both talked about this before. Cats are the one true carnivores, and they unfortunately need meat to survive. And yeah, their poo it's nasty. But that's the one true carnivore there.
All right, Toni, now I want to congratulate you, and you didn't really speak to how you're feeling around going 23 days. Wow, I'm so proud of you. I went 20. Now I'm going to have to match you at least.
That is amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Next day, I am like I'm again back on water. Because I want to get more, or actually the mucoid plaque out, and that didn't happen, not even in those little over 3 weeks. And so I know there's more work to do. And my issue is I do not drink enough. And I spoke with someone. It was like, oh, you need at least 2 gallons, and I'm like, 2 gallons? I'm happy if I get 2 or 3 liters in.
Yeah.
It's like I drink half a glass of water and I kind of almost feel nauseated. So I need to focus more on getting more in, because being dehydrated is actually also a cause of a lot of our symptoms. And most of the population is dehydrated and they're not even aware of it. So it's, you're tired, drink a little bit more. My husband is a good example of that. He was like, oh, my lower back hurts. Did you drink enough? And I was like, no, let's drink something. Half an hour later, lower back pain is gone. Headache, same thing. So and this is water. I'm not, I know people would say the only real filtered water is actually coming from fruit. While we are as acidic as we still are, we do need the water. Once we cleaned out and we're healthy and the toxins are gone, and our colon is clean, all GI tract is clean, then it is a different story. But then you would eat only fruit and some lettuce, some soft leafy greens, but then you get to a different level. We are not there. And I think a very, very low percentage is there already that they can do with all the Well, with all the fruit. Although when I hear, I don't know if you guys know Lauren Whiteman. She is from the terrain model and into the what is it called? Hygienic diet.
You've heard of you
And
talk of her.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, we've heard of you talk of her.
Yeah, well, she is really worth looking up. They are really about, even though with all the fruit, drinking a lot of water. And one of my first clients is a big part of the groups, and she has set up her own Facebook group, and she's doing amazing. And they do drink a lot of water and exercises a lot of too. And that is something where Dr. Morse said, when you're still detoxing, give your body a chance to heal first. But she's done it, and she's done it with fruit and a lot of water in her exercising, and she's doing great. So it's, you have to look into what works best for you. But I am absolutely convinced, and I've seen it with my clients, I see it with myself, we do need that water.
Yeah, that's so correct. Yeah, Tony, because well, you texted me, thank you, about, you were concerned about, my itching and my rash, and you said, drink more water. So I did. I started drinking more water, and of course, at the time too, I was well, getting rid of all those avocados, and then I cut out nuts, and yeah, now it's just normal. I'm not scratching like I used to. I mean, my whole body was everywhere was itchy, So yeah, it's obvious that the intake of too much oil, even like I said, I was thinking that there were good oils, but I think in moderation, maybe like having an avocado once a week or something. I was eating 3 a day, and plus nuts, and so and in coming off of my fast, I probably was way overdoing it. My body was so clean, and it was like trying to reject all that I was just giving. I wanted everything coming off of a fast. I was preparing, and I'm working it down. It just seems like I'm eating from my head. I'm not really eating from my stomach, and so that's what I'm working on, because I'm not necessarily even hungry, but I have all this food I keep buying, and I'm working on just reducing the amount of food I'm taking in.
Yeah, we don't need as much as we used to, and as we think that we do need. It's like, the breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and the snacks in between. It's ridiculous. When it comes to it, you could probably do well on one meal a day, somewhere midday, and that would be it. I know I can do that. I mean, it's almost 1 o'clock here, and all I had was 2 glasses of water. I'm not hungry.
Yep.
And but we are so what is it?
Programmed.
Yeah, like we need to have breakfast, and oh my gosh, 2, 3, 4 hours, like, well, but in 4 hours at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, oh, it's lunchtime, let's get lunch. And then it's in a few hours later, we need to have dinner. And because between lunch and dinner, that's usually a longer time period, well, let's have a snack. And we do not need it. And the more that you get on the right foods, with fruit, you'll notice that you really don't need that much. And there is the wrong thinking is also like, oh, I have done a detox or a fast or a fruit feast or a water fast, and now I can eat again. You made that mistake, and you found that your body was objecting to what you took in. It's not working. It cannot handle that. And you don't want that much of it. And I'm not saying you can never, eat that again. Yeah, maybe you can handle an avocado once in a while. It's that handful of nuts once in a while. and not a package of nuts, but really that small handful, the 3 or 4 that fit in your palm of your hand, that is it. And not 10 times a day, as a snack. No, it's a different way of eating. It's more yeah. Is it now, would we say it's more conscious eating? Because I don't even think about it. And then I realized I didn't even eat that much. I didn't need that much.
Mhm.
So
I find that I'm more hungry about a week before my cycle.
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like that still has never gone away for me. I mean, I could eat our whole entire refrigerator. And then after that, I mean, I eat once a day, if that. But it's funny. So
I get that too, Sarah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
So I don't know if it's a cycle
right.
or what it is.
Yeah, right before my cycle. I get that.
Your cycle. Well, I mean, men have cycles too. So yeah, that is true. But it is, and it's like, okay, yeah. And that too, like with women too, my cycle is completely normal, it's regular, there's no issues, nothing. And that's amazing. I mean, I was on birth control when I was young. And then I was even on birth control when I got pregnant with my son. And I'd never had it ever since.
Wow, I have cycles. I know I like to ride bicycles, but
Yes. No, men also have cycles too.
I do.
But it's more like
okay.
yeah, like our
is that in the book?
I don't think so. But you don't have like a menstrual cycle, no, but I mean it's the rhythm of we have the 13 moons, women have 13 cycles. It's the rhythm of our world, that we all have cycles that we go in, whether they be day, night, the monthly, the yearly, the seasons. So we all have cycles. But yeah, I mean, I still have that where I am hungry and it's like I can't get filled up. But I'm a terrible water drinker too. So maybe that's the whole issue.
Yeah,
I'm working on that too. Water.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I spoke with Lauren about that, and what she did to get her water in. She said, I put what I need to drink, say before noon, I put those 4 or 5 or 6 glasses right in front of me, and they have to be gone by that time. I was like,
I'm not that stringent.
I'm trying. I have always a water bottle here right next to me, but yeah, it's I do want to come back a little about the misconception that we detox and then we're done and we go back to eating. It's like and detoxing you only do for a short time and you're not always detoxing. I do not like the way that people think about what a detox is. It is just a healing period, and it takes time. It doesn't take weeks or months, it takes years. And it is years. People ask me, oh, how long have you been doing this? Well, off and on, 3 years. And it's like, and you're not healed yet. It's a process, and it's a slow process. It can be 3 steps forward, 2 steps back because I did something I shouldn't have. And that is just how we all do it, with all the circumstances. And besides, our body is all different. I'm a little older, so I may have, messed up my body a little bit more than somebody who is 20, 30, 40 years younger than I am. But don't look at detoxing as something you do temporarily and then, you can't go back. It's a journey, and it is your life. It is the way that we are eating is not a temporarily, it is a life change. And this is just how we have to do it. There is no other way. And then there are no shortcuts. You could think like, okay, a water fast is kind of a shortcut because it goes a little faster than when you would be on all fruit. So I think, and I definitely want to make that part of my journey, is like doing a 1 week water fast every month. Now, I'm not one who is easily being programmed to do it that way. I definitely want to try it, and also try and every week and maybe 24-hour dry fast, and to help the body detox a little further. And with detoxing, it's like, replace that word with healing. It is all about that we heal the body, and it needs time. And yes, it's not easy, but we can do it. We have been proven how much we can actually do. And, Juan, you have done it. Sarah, you're doing it. And yeah, we can do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that too, Tony. I was thinking that same thing, that once a month, and that's a good idea too, incorporating a dry fast in. Yeah, I really feel good, and it's easy, and it's inexpensive, and it gives the body the opportunity to heal. So, to get back to well-being, because when we were born into this world, that's what we were. We were well-being, and it seems like we're always working to get ourselves back there.
Yeah, we want to feel good. I mean, when we were, we had long hours of driving the last few days. And so we talked a lot, and we talked about, my grandmother died when she was 72 years old. She didn't appear to have any disease. She had an accident. She was run over by a bus. And but then I was like, my God, when she was in her late 60s, she was already kind of starting with dementia, and brain wasn't working as well. She could talk about the past, and if you would walk away, come back an hour later, she was still at her story. And now I realized, my God, at that age, she was younger than I am. And yeah, my father died when he was in his 50s. Now my sister died. She was in her mid 60s. So it's I forgot where I was going with the story. I had a story, but I forgot where I was going. Forgive me, please.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, at this point, all the teachings we've heard from Charlie and Colleen, and all the gnosis that Toni has provided us with, and the Bible studies and everything, we are gifted 1,000 years here. And we've been lied to and brainwashed and thinking that we're only making it to our 60s, 70s, 80s. And boy, if you make it to the hundreds, people will just parade around you. But and asking, how'd you do it? How'd you do it? And yet they still are not full of vibrancy and health either. And when we turn 100, that's probably like equivalent to us being 10 years old. I mean, we should feel like that too. So we've been gifted these teachings, and we've seen the light. And to me, and my research of what I've done within the Bible, is this is heaven on earth. And it's just the veil has been draped over our eyes, and we can't see it. And we need to fight through that and shine our lights, so that way we may stand here next to God and heaven on earth. And this is our heaven, because what are you going to do? Are you going to die and then hope you come back, be born again to the family that will share all this with you? We need to stay, and we need to make it. We need to make that leap, that leap of faith. And, hopefully we all stay.
Yes, Sarah. Yes, I so agree with you. I say to people, I am living for hundreds of years, and there's not many people speaking like this, but I mean, I totally feel that, and I realize that our bodies are regenerative. I'm living proof of it right now. What I went through with the accident in my eye and the healing, and like what I was talking about with my hearing and my right ear coming back.
Yep.
The body knows what to do. Just let it do the work, and don't become your diagnosis or whatever. Doctors, they can be, good. We can find out, even if it's something like blood work or, and then do it holistically, do it naturally. I mean, the doctors can be there for us to help us, but I mean, really, they're taught to diagnose, to prescribe things to us, rather than what is it going to take to heal us naturally. That they don't really even learn much about natural stuff, nutrition and whatnot, when they go to school.
They do not.
But yeah,
We need to step out of the way, and we need to allow the body to do what it already knows what to do. It is smarter than we are, and the ego steps in and says, nope, you got to do this, you got to do that, and everything. That's the same thing with your life. It's the same thing with manifestation. We can't do that because our ego is too involved, and we don't know what our ego sounds like versus like what we think are our own pure thoughts. So what you have to do is literally step to the side, take the load off Fanny, and allow God's plan to play out.
It is always interesting, when you mentioned that a few times. It's like healing naturally, but that is the only way of healing. There is no other way. Doctors don't heal. They can put bones together. That's great. I would have suffered if they hadn't fixed that, the upper femur in my body when I twisted it in, and it's kind of splintered actually. And why did it splinter? Because of the wrong foods and because of my ongoing intake of a ton of supplements that I was told I absolutely needed by doctors. So now we know, and the healing naturally, people are looking for doctors who can heal them naturally. We are our own healers. Not a doctor. We can, and we learn from each other. And once we know the truth about what food is meant for us, that is the way to go. And other than that, it's the medical industry are not the healers. We are.
Yep. And as Sue
that's
says,
so
too, yep. And as Sue says in the chat, I want to be here long enough to share with others the truth. And we'll be together, we'll shine our light together. And I mean, like I said earlier, look how we found each other. This has got to be God's plan, and we're all following it. So we'll see where it takes us, this journey.
Amen.
It's
And-
definitely interesting. People, we are past the hour again. So I would say thank you all for being here. Thank you again, Juan and Sarah, for sharing all your wisdom.
Thank you,
And,
Toni.
love you all, and beautiful. It's
Yep.
always beautiful. And I would say enjoy the rest of your day, week, life.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, today I'm
And,
grateful for
happy
all of you. Yeah, today I'm grateful for all of you, for Toni, for everyone in the chat, Juan and Charlie and Colleen and Justin, Aaron, Pam, everyone, Siobhan and Amanda, Aaron, everyone. Thank you all so much. Love you all. And till next week then, right, Toni?
yeah, we're here again next week. So much love to all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You. Bye-bye.
See you next week. Au revoir.